What is the machine that builds the machine that builds the machine?
They have new technologies as it pertains to manufacturing, where you have a manufacturing process or steps in the process or actual machines in the process that are literally building the machines that Tesla will bring into their factories that will also build the machines. Or he could be talking about the bot. If you think about the bot, they have machines that build a machine, which is the bot that build a machine, which is the car. But I think it's a combination of all of them. I think what he's talking about there mostly is that they have some new technologies they're using for the next generation platform that no one else is using, that is probably optimized to take advantage of vertical space in a factory. If you think about your traditional factory, a lot of factories do bring in pieces from top level to bottom level and from bottom level to top level. Like they do that. But the density of a factory typically is low. And the speed at which the stuff runs through the factory is limited by how quick humans are. And the line is then optimized to ensure that mistakes are minimized from a human perspective, which means that you're naturally catering to the lowest common denominator or to the average human performance, which unfortunately, if you compare that to, say, an automated process, it's dog crap. So I think that a lot of the manufacturing advancements that they've made are to optimize for that sort of gap in manufacturing process. I don't want to read too much into it because it could mean that they have some breakthrough with a bot, but I think it just probably speaks more to the next gen platform more than anything.
I think he talked about how basically instead of them going out and buying a gigapress that makes the machine, that's easy because someone else can go buy that same gigapress. Now they're designing whatever is building this next gen vehicle. So they're going to have to copy the design and they're not going to be doing a battery day on the design. So that's going to be pretty difficult.
I think at some point, though, whoever they partner with to build those machines, those companies will start selling those to other people as well.
Oh, you don't think Tesla could build a machine like that on their own?
Maybe they could. But the way I'm reading it is that if you want to use that machine that Tesla's developing specifically to build a next-gen platform, you will have to, by default, build a next-gen platform because that machine is not being used in any current manufacturing processes today.
You're saying you build it once and then you spent all that time, so you probably want to build it again. So that's probably why there's a company involved so that they can sell more of them and make it worth it?
Kind of. So if you think about every car manufacturer today, they have machines that they buy from third parties like KUKA, as an example. Those crazy artists that come down and they do crazy stuff. But there's a bunch of other machines. Almost all of them, basically all of them, are bought from third-party suppliers that make machinery specifically for the factories, for auto manufacturers. And before Tesla came along, a lot of these machines were just off the shelf, meaning that BMW can buy this robot that Mercedes also uses, that GM also uses, that VW also uses. They can decide where they put it in the factory. And the optimization came from how fast they made it move, where they put it in the process, how many parts they really need to use that robot for. What Tesla, I think, is alluding to with the copying of them using the machine that builds the machine that builds the machine is that these machines are one-off machines starting with Tesla based on how they're being used in a factory setting. Say KUKA is the third-party supplier that Tesla has partnered with to make this machine. This machine, if Ford or GM or Volkswagen or whoever were to buy the same machine, they would literally have no use for it because that machine, the motion, how it moves, doesn't really apply to a traditional car being built today. So if that automaker wants to use that machine, they have to essentially create the end-to-end manufacturing process to build a next generation platform that Tesla is doing that would allow that machine to actually fit in the process. Let's say, for example, BYD tears down the next generation platform. They're like, holy crap, look at this thing. This thing is insane. I can't believe it. We need to do that. They need to essentially make the decision to scrap everything that applies to a current manufacturing process to a car, start from scratch, and then at that point, they can start buying that same machine that Tesla has developed.
Normally, when these businesses partner together, I always expect there to be like an announcement, like, oh, we're working with Tesla on their next gen platform, but we haven't heard that. So I thought maybe Tesla was doing it by themselves, but I guess they could keep it confidential.
100%. Yeah, okay. It's totally NDA. Yeah, when IDRA announced that they built the Gigapress for the Cybertruck, that was announced until Cybertruck was done with development and they were starting the trial production, the alpha production for the truck. So we might hear an announcement on this once the compact car or the next gen vehicle, whatever that is, starts trial production, which might be early 2025 or whatever. And at that point, it'll be like, okay, wow, that's crazy. Like, okay, I'm going to start buying that because it looks great, and I'm going to start using it for a next generation vehicle platform.
I see. But I wanted to know maybe what your biggest takeaway from the earnings call was.
Yeah, my takeaway from the call was that it just felt more positive than usual. And the vagueness was very notable. The tone was just, we got this. We're fine. You're kind of in the dark. It's okay. You'll be fine. We'll be bigger than everybody. Just chill. Just kind of hang out. We'll see. Now, there were two specific data points that I don't think they shared before that was really, really interesting. It goes under the radar because, again, Tesla has a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver with some of the stuff. But we have a concrete timeline on when they expect the next generation vehicles to start being produced, which is late next year. And there was a, let's say, optimistic time frame on the first spots that will be sold, which was also next year. That was really cool to hear. Let's wait and see if they can execute against that. But you put that within the context of everything else that I've been saying in these last few calls, where it's a lot more tempered, it's a lot more subdued. Some may make the argument that they're sandbagging a little bit. But you put that within the context of what they just talked about with the next gen platform and the bot, it kind of gets you excited. Now, they could also be doing that to throw a carrot out there for people that are dismayed by some of the tone from the company as of late. But I thought it was really cool to hear those concrete timelines from the company about the next gen platform and the bot. We'll see if people start working this in their model, how many units the next gen and the bot will sell. I don't think the general population is ready for what's about to happen. Because the compact car, the next generation car, I don't care if it's Tesla or whoever else. You think about a transportation unit that with a federal EV tax credit in the United States will likely be under $20,000, that will require no gas, basically no maintenance, and can drive itself. What does that do to transportation? It makes it a really weird concept. It just completely changes the dynamic of how we interface with a car. It just changes completely. You think about a car today and what we look for when we buy a car. What do we look for? What do we think about? We think about the looks of the car, the driving dynamics, the braking performance, the response from the accelerator, how smooth it feels to steer, suspension, comfort, safety, how much room it has, the luggage, what kind of infotainment system it has, the knobs, maybe how they feel, how the trim feels on the car, how it looks on the interior, right? When cars start driving themselves, I feel like most of those things go out the window and people will focus strictly on comfort and how much room it has. And then everything else gets replaced by something else. A car that can drive itself essentially becomes a room, four wall with a ceiling room that just happens to take you from point A to point B. And so you think about the dynamics of what do you look for in a room that you want to be in? You want to have things that entertain you. You want to have things that make you feel comfortable. You want to have things that make you feel good to be there, to be happy. But it's very different than a car, because with a car, you're interfacing with the actual driving. So the car is built to keep your stress levels low while you're driving a missile down a road, trying not to get yourself killed while someone else on the other side of the road's coming at you at 65 miles an hour, and the only thing separating you is a freaking line on the road. That's what cars are designed to make you feel good doing, okay? You throw that out of the window, and then you're all of a sudden like a plane setting, like a private jet or something. That's how the dynamic changes. And every single auto manufacturer out there hasn't even begin to think, in my opinion, in earnest, about what that looks like in a world where the driver is completely taken out of the equation, and now the entire car becomes completely self-driving. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they are essentially held hostage by a manufacturing process and first, second, and third tier suppliers that will not allow them to think about a completely redone, ground up car, because it's not profitable for them. And they're beholden to the investors to ensure that they're generating profit. So they're constantly thinking about, how can we make sure these people like our company? How can we make sure they don't sell their stock so I can make money? I'm an executive, all my pay's in the stock. I don't want to piss them off. The way traditional auto is built is not built to think about the future. It's think about making sure investors are happy. When you do that, generally speaking, investors are risk averse and they are unwilling to buy ideas that could impact their ability to retain wealth and to grow their wealth out of fear that the risk you're taking will fail. I don't even know how I got here, but I got here.